you've ever looked at Xero and thought, why does this not make sense? You are in the right place. After years of reviewing messy Xero files, helping business owners migrate into Xero, the mistakes I see on accounting softwares are always the same. The good news, they are all completely fixable. So today I am going to take you through the Xero mistakes that nearly every business owner makes and the very simple 2026 fixes that will make your bookkeeping cleaner, faster, and way less stressful. The first mistake is thinking that the Xero reconciliation works like a traditional bank reconciliation. This one came up a lot in comments on previous videos. So Xero uses the word reconcile in a way that confuses accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners, because historically the word reconciliation meant to compare the accounting ledger to the bank statement, check every entry, confirm the opening and closing balances, identify errors, but inside Xero, the word reconcile simply means match the bank feed line to an invoice or bill or categorize it. It is not a full reconciliation. The 2026 fix for this mistake is that if you want to perform a true reconciliation, we go to the accounting tab, we click on bank accounts, we click the three dots, we go to account transactions. From there, we are going to compare your bank statement closing balance with Xero's statement balance. I think very early on I was trained on different systems, and Xero was actually the very first cloud-based accounting platform that I was trained on. And I think like lots of other accountants and bookkeepers, when you move from a more like classic system to cloud accounting, this can be quite confusing. My biggest prompt to any accountant or bookkeeper who finds that terminology confusing, I actually just try and reassure people that there's nothing wrong with them for being confused by that terminology. We actually just use that interchangeably. And I actually think the reason that people get confused by this is because Xero is so intuitive to use, and Xero is the financial platform that I send my clients to because I don't want them to feel overwhelmed. And so sometimes as accountants and bookkeepers, that language is used interchangeably, and that's how we can prevent that mistake. The second mistake is not understanding why Xero and their bank balance doesn't match. So this can happen because the bank feed, firstly, might be delayed. Secondly, manual transactions might have been entered. The third reason is because duplicates exist. It could be because reconciliations have been created without a matching line item, or deleted or unreconciled entries from previous periods have been counted. The 2026 fix for this, as someone who is an accountant in an accounting firm and fixes this all of the time, is first up to search for duplicates in the account transactions tab. Then we're going to filter by unreconciled transactions. We are going to look for any manual journals someone might have posted directly to the bank account. We are then going to check if the opening balances were entered correctly when you actually started Xero. I recently was doing a Xero tidy up job for a client, and their bank account was out by £12,000, and it actually turned out to be one transfer caused a difference of £12,000. It was super simple. I literally followed the process that I've just talked you through by checking for balances, checking for journals, checking for unreconciled transactions, and it was just one transfer that had been done twice caused a difference of £12,000. And so following that process to find unreconciled transactions, finding things that could be causing your bank balance to be different. Once you calm down and catch your breath, it's actually quite straightforward. And again, literally did this on a client last week and found a £12,000 difference. Okay, the third mistake I want to talk about is not using tracking categories. This actually came from a comment on a recent YouTube video. So if you have ever moved from QuickBooks and you're used to seeing classes, the Xero equivalent of that is called tracking categories. So these tracking categories let you track income and expenses by project. You can use them to analyze different business units. You can also use them to produce segmented profit and loss reports, and you can run reports for different locations or different revenue streams. The fix to not using them in 2026 is to go to settings, then go to reports, then go to tracking categories. You can create categories like businesses, so if you operate multiple brands, you can create categories like departments or revenue streams. It is important to say here that if you have multiple legal entities, you do need multiple Xero subscriptions. So you can't run multiple businesses or companies in one file, even if they share a balance sheet, but we can use them to segment income within one Xero account. I think here, put very simply, for each legal entity, you need one Xero account. That is for many reasons. Compliance being the main one, but also avoiding any overwhelm. Xero is incredible at multi-platform reporting. There are tools like SIFT, SYFT Analytics that we can connect. So if you are running multiple Xeros, we can report all in one place, but for each legal entity, you do need a separate Xero file. The fourth mistake I see is not setting up multiple income streams properly, whether you're self-employed or you've got things like a lettings business. So I've actually had several comments on previous videos which say, can I run my self-employed income and my lettings business in the same Xero? The answer to that is, you can tell why I've ordered these questions in the right order, is because just like with the previous question, if they are part of the same legal entity, yes, you can. If they are different legal entities, the answer is no. So the 2026 fix for this, if they are within the same entity, is to actually use tracking categories. So you could create one tracking category called main business income, and then a secondary tracking category called lettings income. This keeps all of the reporting really clean. It will also make sure that you are ready for MTD ITSA, which is coming in 2026. The fifth mistake I see is incorrectly handling personal transactions. So you guys asked in the comments of previous videos, do I reconcile personal items or do I just delete them? The fix to this is, if it is a business expense paid personally, we just record that as a spend money transactions and we code it to either your director's loan account, if it's called that for you, or Xero's default code is called owner's funds introduced. If it's actually a personal purchase from the business bank account, we then record it as drawings or to your director's loan. If the entry is actually not yours at all, you then can use the delete function. But this is probably one of the most common questions we get, is how do I accurately keep track of personal income, personal expenses, or business expenses paid personally? And this is the perfect example of exactly how we can track that. Not only to make sure that your business account is reconciled within Xero, but also to make sure that your balance sheet correctly shows how much money you owe the business or how much money the business owes you. The sixth mistake is not knowing how to edit an invoice or transaction after it's been approved. So someone recently commented on one of my YouTube Xero tutorials, which was, if someone did the wrong invoice amount, how do you edit it? In Xero, once something is approved, you can edit invoices and bills unless you've been locked for year end, but assuming your Xero hasn't been locked for year end by your accountant, you can edit invoices and bills. You can't edit a bank reconciliation line directly. You'd actually, in that case, need to use the remove and redo function, which is super easy to use. It's literally one button. It unreconciles that transaction and it pushes the transaction back into your bank reconciliation feed for you to just do it again correctly again. The fix for this is to find the invoice, click on invoice options, and then click edit, and then save your changes. Xero will then prompt you to re-reconcile that transaction if you need to, or if it's a bank transaction that has been categorized incorrectly, we go to account transactions, find the line, we click remove and redo, and then we reconcile that correctly. Mistake number 7 is not automating your supplier invoices. We had several comments on previous videos talking about automation and the OCR functions within Xero, and Xero now actually has far better automation. So as of 2026, you can forward invoices to your Xero email. Xero's OCR reads the supplier, the date, the amounts, the VAT, and the description. It suggests the coding based on the history, just like it has done previously in the bank reconciliation tab. It now does that automatically based on your previous history. The rules can be built to auto-code recurring items, and this saves so much time, especially for businesses who have a large volume of bills. For us at StriveX as well, we have lots of different invoices coming in, whether it's the team taking exams or we're paying for training, all of the way through to as we've grown, our office costs have increased. We now just auto forward them straight into Xero, and we use their OCR and their automation to pull everything in, and it just makes life way easier. I'd say as well, that's probably one of the biggest upgrades we've seen to Xero that we can now take full advantage of in 2026. The next mistake is not setting up stock properly for product-based businesses. So this is answering a question that was left on a previous video. Xero does have stock, but it is basic inventory tracking, which would be suitable for places like retail, food shops, simple e-commerce stores, basic stock accounts. But I'd say if you have 5,000 lines, salespeople, or complex purchasing options, you probably need an integrated app like Unleashed, Deer Systems, or TradeGecko are the most common that we see. But for basic tracking categories, basic stock takes, up to 5,000 line items, Xero is great. The next mistake is not using the chart of accounts properly. So people have left comments on previous videos saying that when they've logged into Xero, they find that there are too many accounts and too many sub-accounts. And for lots of people, that means that they find that there's messy bookkeeping and confusing reports. The 2026 fix for this is to go to the accounting tab, go to the advanced section, click in chart of accounts. There is actually a function called merge duplicates. So you can merge any duplicate accounts. You can create headers that are custom to your business. I think lots of people find the chart of accounts quite overwhelming, but then don't customize it or don't make it bespoke for their business. I'd encourage you to keep the naming formats here super simple and very easy to use. So create categories like software, not very specific digital cloud-based SaaS subscription services. Like keep it general so that people can easily put things into the right categories. And I think for lots of people, having very simple chart of accounts makes all elements of reporting easy for business owners, as well as it actually making the bookkeeping way better as well. The next mistake is not understanding VAT receipts or documentation rules as we're learning Xero at the same time. So this was a question that came from a previous YouTube video, which is, do you match every bank line to a receipt? The short answer is, if you are VAT registered, yes, you need evidence for every line item. HMRC wants proof of VAT on every relevant purchase, but it could be a PDF invoice, a photo of a physical receipt, an email, a receipt uploaded into Xero using their new email function. The matching doesn't matter, like how you do that doesn't matter, but making sure that you have the evidence does matter. I actually chose to start with the mistake that impacts accountants and bookkeepers first, which was that reconciliation tab section, because I wanted to let you guys know if you're a business owner, if you are training to be an accountant, even accountants can get a little bit overwhelmed when they're learning Xero. And I think lots of us have a fear of getting it wrong. If ever I train a client in Xero, or if I'm training a junior member of staff, as we go through that training, very often people will say things like, oh, can I click this button? I think people are scared of getting it wrong. They're worried that you can't undo it. But the biggest takeaway I'd have for you with Xero is everything's fixable. Every mistake I've taken you through today, it's all fixable. All of these mistakes are super common. They're things that I see clients and business owners do all of the time. And so I wanted to pull all of this together in one place. Doing your bookkeeping, having tidy chart of accounts, having really great reporting, all of this is a form of financial well-being for founders. And that's something that we can build and keep into our financial routine. If you want to actually understand your numbers within your business and not just understand Xero, my Profitability Playbook is linked below with a very special YouTube discount code. It is perfect if you want clarity around pricing, clarity around margins, and what your business can actually afford. And if you love learning in this way, I have also included a free trial of my podcast in the description of this video. This is where I teach the deeper mindset systems and finance lessons that every founder should know. And if you don't have Xero yet, you can use the link in the description for a very special offer where terms and conditions apply. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope this makes your Xero feel a whole lot clearer. Don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials, and I'll see you in the next one.